Sure.
Hey guys, here we are at BYG. We got some great guests tonight. We're going to be talking about high school lacrosse on Long Island. We're very excited about it. I'm going to introduce, before I introduce our guests, I'm going to tell you where the whole idea came from. Last year we started at FLG, we started the Long Island Lacrosse Journal. Got a little logo. This year it's going to be able, you can be able to buy it on an app on your phone, 3 different ways. The LILJ logo will be popping up there soon. I'm going to show it to you so you can see that, Frankie boy, that logo.
Make sure in the App Store you got to search Long Island Lacrosse. That's all you got to type, actually, Long Island Lacrosse, and then that'll pop up.
Really?
It's like the first one.
That's cool.
Yeah. Don't fall for there's an ad that pops up before it. Don't fall for that. It's the second one.
Did that happen to you?
That happened to me, yeah. I fell into that trap.
So anyway, the Long Island Lacrosse Journal is going to be a preview of every high school team on Long Island, male, female, Nassau, Suffolk, and parochial. So every school and private.
Don't forget about the parochials.
No, God bless them. Okay, we're going to have a little... So anyway, and if you want to get the app, you guys could just go on your phone and get it. You can get it now. You could go get last year's 2018 edition for a measly 99 cents. And then the 2019 will be breaking on March 1st for $2.99.
It's a steal.
Absolutely. I'm going to introduce our guests, and then first I'm going to start off with our beautiful young mom. Just had a 2.5-month-old baby boy.
Yeah.
Carolyn Sumzik, the Locust Valley head coach. Welcome. And then Ryan Gick, who just had a baby girl 4 months ago. Our Bayport Blue Point must be in the water in your coaching meetings. But it's all good stuff. Well, welcome, guys. I'm going to have Carolyn start us off and talk about the Nassau County girls and how the alignments work and the conferences, and tell us a little bit about how it works in Nassau County.
So in Nassau County, our conferences are based on strength, which is actually the best thing for girls lacrosse. So basically, we have conference 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the top 10 teams on Long Island are in Conference 5, in Conference 1, and then on Conference 2, then it goes from then each way down, each team, there's 10 teams in there, which then makes the conferences very competitive. So every game in the conference is a great game. It's super competitive, and it really is a great thing for our sport, so that teams that are playing teams that they should be playing, and then also it gives room for in your conference schedule to schedule those non-conference games that are against teams that really are going to be a great fit for you, challenge your team in all aspects of the game.
So what happens after the regular season? Like, what happens for playoffs? Being that it's built by strength of your team.
So what happens is so that everyone in Conference 1, because they are the best 10 teams in Nassau County, they automatically make playoffs, and then from there on, it kind of filters as you go on throughout the conferences about where there's room to be. If you're a conference champ, then that kind of gives you a right to be into the playoffs. So then if there is an odd number of teams, then because there's a conference champ, then they'll have a playing game. So it's kind of a fair system. So basically you play the best teams, you're going to have that chance to automatically make playoffs. And then it's kind of fair for everyone else, so then it gives the other teams something to play for. So your season, you're either trying to play to get into the playoffs, play to just win your conference, and again, just really growing the sport and making kids love and want to play lacrosse.
Cool. And how is Suffolk different, Ryan? How is it aligned? And I guess what are the pros and cons in your opinion?
So we have 2 divisions. Division 1 made up entirely of A schools. There's 21 A's. So basically you play out your season based on preceding season rankings that coaches will fill out seating packets. We all review information on each other. We get together, have a nice long meeting where we all talk really nicely to each other and figure out who should be seated where. And based on those seeds, then Section 11 divvies up our schedules and you play certain seeds based on where you fall. At the end of that, Power Rankings supplies you with your final point value, and then 50% of the total number of teams in your classification get in. So with 21 teams, you would get, 11 teams get in, because 10 and a half. So 10 and a half rounds up to 11. So you get 11 teams in for the A's, We're in Division 2. Did I add that up right, by the way?
Yeah,
sounds
that was good.
I was on the fly. So where Division 2 is a little more complicated. You have B's, D's, and C schools. So you have 11 B schools, 5 D schools, and 9 C schools that can make up your 25-team division. So now you're seeding teams of different classifications into one division, which gets a little complicated and a little heated. And then we'll play our schedule out just like the other one. And then at the end, you'll take your 11 Bs, and based on where they fell, then you take each classification out of the division now. And you take half of the Bs, half of the Ds, half of the Cs. So you get 7 B schools in the playoffs, 3 Ds because there's 5 of them. Everything's on a half this year. So 6.5 out of 11, right? Rounds up to 7 schools for B.
Mm-hmm.
D's get 3 schools, and then the C's get 5 schools in the playoffs. So a little more complicated than I think what is more straightforward system in Nassau. But I mean, based on the strength of schedules and what you see the top teams you see the proper teams based on your preseason seed.
I think we should dive right into the top teams. I'm curious for you who are in the thick of being high school coaches. You're in it. You're seeing sometimes teams not just in the spring, sometimes over the summer, fall. There's winter leagues now. Going into the season, let's jump back to Nassau County. Who do you think are the top 4 teams or 5 teams in the A, B, and C conferences that you think might be there at the end?
So let's start with the A conference. So Manhasset, Massapequa, Syosset, Port Washington, and then Farmingdale, Oceanside. Like Farmingdale and Oceanside definitely will be in for that last spot. All 4 of those schools are really well coached, and really, any day, any one of those teams could be number 1.
Now, Farmingdale, Oceanside, those are Conference 2 teams.
Yes, they're
those are
conference
teams that you'll play
Yes.
in your conference throughout the year.
Yes, so those 2 teams will kind of be kind of playing it out for each other. Who will get that 4th spot? Syosset, Massapequa, and Port are going to end up automatically being the 1, 2, or 3.
Gotcha, because they're in that top power
They're in that
conference.
top power conference, so they're automatically, depending on how they fall, will be 1, 2, or 3, and then kind of Oceanside and Farmingdale will be playing for that 4th seed.
Gotcha. Massapequa last year, they won Conference A, I believe,
Yes.
so they were the county champs.
Yep.
They take more than 4 teams though in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, they take 6, but for conference for the A schools. So the A schools. So depending on how many teams are in each size, is how many qualify. So, but those are usually the top 4. You want to be there at, in the semis and stuff like that. But again, Oceanside and Farmingdale will make playoffs. It'll be who's that 4th.
So they
seed.
take 6 teams, so they probably do the 1 and 2 get buys.
Yes.
Okay, and 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, how about the Bs? Or do you know how many teams are taken there?
So the Bs are a little bit more. B used to be the bigger conference, but then when we went to the 4 classifications, actually it turned out now the C is the bigger number for teams. So the Bs are, I think it's 8, 10. I don't really remember offhand. So there's a lot more B schools that will make it.
Who do you like out of the Bs? Who do you
So
think's
out
gonna
of
be
the Bs will definitely be Manhasset, Garden City, Long Beach, and Southside.
good? Okay, those
Yeah.
are good picks.
Yeah.
Those are all. All 4 teams are in Conference 1.
Yes.
Yes,
All 4. Yes.
those are Conference 1 teams.
And last year, Manhasset won the whole
They
state
won the state
championship, right?
yeah.
Yep.
After
With a lot of young kids.
yes,
Yes.
they lost. I mean, their best player was out with an ACL injury. She's at Maryland.
Yeah.
And then Chris
Yep.
Kowalski's probably their biggest loss. She was a pretty good goalie.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they have someone that's been, getting shots ripped on them by their older brother for the last, 8 years.
Yeah,
in
they
Madison.
usually have 3 goalies that are, waiting in the wings that are Division 1 players.
Right.
Yes,
So
yeah.
I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah. I think they're going to be
Manhasset
great. Yeah.
isn't short of talent, huh?
No, not one bit. So it will be. I mean, again, the B conference, it's really going to be a competitive playoff. So it'll be, every game is usually a great game, minus, the first round when, you have those mixed match of the seeds. But really, the semifinal games are going to be some really great games to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the C's.
The C's, again, are, very competitive.
So we got Locust Valley.
Cold Spring Harbor, they're really a great team, young, talented. They really, they played awesome last year. I mean, they won the states, which is great for them.
First time in school history, I
Yes,
think.
first time.
On the girls' side.
On
On
the
the
girls'
girls' side, yep.
Yep. And then you also have North Shore and Wantagh. So again, it's really a competitive playoff. I mean, really great schools all playing together, really talented players. It's fun. It's fun lacrosse to watch.
So other good C schools in Conference 2, you got Plain Edge of 3.
Plain Edge.
Good
then
young team.
Young team. You have Limbrook. You have Seaford. So again, like it's
Floral Park,
Floral
Park.
Park.
the
Yeah,
Dark
so-
Horse.
Yep.
Dark Horse, yep. Well, they're the Dark Knights,
Are they the Dark Knights?
but
Yeah.
we'll call them the horses.
No
for the
pun,
show.
no pun intended.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, it's going to be really. I mean, the spring is always a great time. Great lacrosse is being played.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. I appreciate the breakdown.
Well, let's
there,
not forget
Vanessa.
about D.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, Dave.
of course.
Yes.
Now,
Oyster
what do
Bay.
you got? Call Place and OB?
Oh,
Yeah.
Carl Place. I mean,
Yeah.
And Oyster
they've got-
Bay.
Carl
Yeah.
Place has some girls. They got college lacrosse players. They built a nice program.
Yes, they
good
do.
youth program. And Oyster Bay is a decent little team, too.
Yeah.
Oyster Bay was the best D school for a while. Now Call Place.
Yeah.
Just
Now
not that
it's
one,
two.
Right? 2
Yeah.
years ago they won, and the
Yeah.
last year Carl Place won.
That's right. So,
We had little pictures of will be showing up.
yeah.
Mag-
So, yeah, feel free, if you don't mind, Frank, rattle through, like, pictures, like 2 through 6. These are a bunch of our Nassau girls. This is Coach Radomski's daughter. She plays for Massapequa. She's one of the better defenders out there in Nassau.
Yep.
This is Kelly Trotta. She's a stud for Manhasset.
Manhasset.
DeBellis is a Duke commit for Cold Spring. She's a player that helped them kind of achieve a
Maggie
state championship
Frankel.
last year. Maggie Frankel. She's in college now, but she's a stud for.
Oh, we're not in Suffolk
Pro
yet. Stop right there.
Yeah, let's stop right there. Let's move to Suffolk. Let's start with the A schools. How's that?
Sure.
Who do you like?
You know, I think in each class, I think the top 3 teams are, you know, it's obvious, I think, who they are. I think after that, there's such a depth in each division. You know, even the A's, which are all Division One, like any of those next 3-4 teams, the Ward Melville, Sachem East, they can compete. But I said Northport, Riverhead, Middle Country, Smithtown. You know, Northport.
Smithtown East or West?
Sorry, Smithtown East, which is the way they were seeded by the coaches. You know, I played it politically correct, so no bulletin board material here. No, but you know, you go with Northport. You know, Olivia Carner, Pavanelli, the goalie, Claire Morris. I mean,
Yep.
we just played her last night in Winter League, and the kid's a stud. You know, everything they threw away, she was stopping. No wasted energy.
Christina Peters.
Christina
Did you just say that name?
No.
Somebody oh,
doesn't ring a bell.
okay.
Did someone dial in?
She
Christina?
said, this girl named Christina Peters, she said, hey, I'm listening. So I was wondering if somebody said her name, and she's like, hey, you're talking about me. I didn't.
No, we don't know her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell her who she is and what she
Shout
plays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think Claire Morris can. You know, even with those names I said before that, with Carner, Pavanelli.
They just got a
even-
big time transfer. Alexa
Ooh,
Gentile
yeah.
for
Yes,
UNC.
yeah.
You know, she's not even on the list. I didn't, want to.
Yeah.
I was,
touch
I was,
on
ta-
that,
I was
Yeah.
talking to
Yeah.
Coach Ralph over at Oceanside. He told me when she was in 8th grade and they played Massapequa in the county championship, she like took over the game as an 8th grader.
She's
He's like,
just a huge,
who is this?
strong attacker. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want to get in her way.
Yeah.
She's going.
No.
And she's tough to stop. So.
Northport
Yep.
scares me.
But I really think the goalie for Northport is just so
She's
good.
awesome.
She could be the deciding
Claire's
factor in a
great,
game. Where I think Riverhead, is that next best team personally. I mean, I think she said she had 11 returning
Yeah.
starters. You have both Kilbasas. You got strong defenders there. Katie Gooddale, even Chrissy Thomas, who was a U19 tryout. They got a couple lefties, which I love having those lefties, the lefty attackers on offense.
Mhm.
That righty-lefty balance to me is like a perfect world in girls lacrosse. So I think between those two teams, there's a lot of talent there. So.
You know, what I thought was pretty cool when we were talking to the Riverhead coach, and I think she's done an unbelievable job just growing that program as a whole from the beginning was, this is the first time that they've ever been seated so high. So now there's an expectation on these great players, and obviously the goal is to get to that championship game and play Northport because that's where everybody's looking at.
Yeah.
I'm sure Middle Country has something to say about that, but
I'm sure. I think Ashley's done an outstanding job. The program has grown exponentially in such a short period of time. It feels like it was a short time ago, people would just go out there and they probably just wipe them off the field. So kudos to them for all their hard work out there. But Middle Country, Lindsay Dolson is an awesome coach, 2 years out from a state championship.
Mm-hmm.
You guys said it last week, they still have a few kids that were on that team that are coming back. That
Yeah.
are a core of their team there. They have 8 returners, starters. So, I think she might have some, goalie question marks going in this year. I don't think she got a new goalie that she can be, relying on. I think that's a situation for a lot of teams is the goalie changeover. When you have a strong senior that graduates, can the younger players step in and support play that supporting role? And that's why I said what I said about the Northport goalie. She could be
Yeah,
such a
X
difference
factor.
maker. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get those kids all the
Especially
time,
in the girls' game, and we'll talk a little bit
Yeah.
about it in a while about the rule change. And that rule change, the goalie has become that much more important.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll get into we'll now get into the luscious bees.
Yeah, sure. So B schools, I mean, again, you're talking ESM West Babylon. Last year's county final was an absolute track meet. I mean, it was
What a game.
probably
Yeah.
the best lacrosse game I think I saw all last year. And I got to stand right on the sideline between both benches and see the chaos that was ensuing as that game was going on. But just two teams with just horses upon horses. I mean, ESM's got Choma, Biscup, Ellie Macera, Cat Flaherty on defense. And kids that that are their up and comers that are 9th and 10th graders who are stud players. Celeste Forte, Sam Philippi, Jess Moroso, who I think was out most of last year with a concussion. Like, these girls are stepping in as the 7th, 8th, 9th player on the team, and you already have those names that I said above them. They're going to be hard to beat, as a returning, Long Island finalist. West Bab, same thing, the Hellers, Downies. I mean, I think there's like 10 Hellers and 10 Downies on this team. If you look at it, you got Napuzzo on there. Like, there's just studs upon studs. And, again, going back to what we said about the A's, they lost Jess Smith, the goalie. So,
Yep.
how do you replace a kid who, was in the All-American conversation last year as a goalie? So, be interested to see. And they play a variety of defenses. They played a really high-pressure zone a lot of last year. And when you do that, sometimes you leave yourself vulnerable and you rely on that goalie. So, but they have two great coaches in Paul and Colleen. And I'm sure they'll have plenty of game plans for teams like myself when we play them in division. West Islip coming down from Division
That's
One.
the X factor, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
Nicolosi is the X factor.
yeah, I mean, you said it. Joe pulled a rabbit out of his hat with the Northport one last year. I don't think he looks at it that way. I remember he walking on the field for that county final, and he goes, "Hey, we're just gonna, throw out what we tried, what we practiced, and see what happens." And I remember I went to a travel practice, and thanks, Tommy. And then on the way back, I found out that West Islip won, and I was like, I can't believe it. But Joe's a X's and O guy. I'm sure he had some sort of game plan to shut those kids down. He might have went man end zone, I think, from what I remember hearing. So locking kids off, not
I
locking
think he
kids
watches
off.
the most film out of any high school lacrosse coach, male or female. He's like a football coach.
Yeah.
The amount of film he watches. Like, I wouldn't want to play him twice.
Yeah,
He figures it out.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's totally, I think, and that's what'll be interesting is that we don't know him, and he hasn't. Well, not that we don't know him,
Right.
but we don't know each other as much as he would know Division One, and as much as Sinai and myself would know each other, or ESN West Babylon. So, but he's got the kid Marino, and obviously Jaden Hample, who's a stud. I know he graduated a lot, but he believes in the kids that are coming up from underneath in the JV program, and the kids that were, I think, waiting their turn last year on the bench. So. They're my third team for the Bees, and then finally Harborfields, who came out last year. Jess Volpe coming out of Stony Brook, did an awesome job as a coach. Changed some of their system. Same thing. I mean, you have to be able. You said you play zone. I play man and zone, and everybody's kind of mixing and matching to try to throw people off. And she did a great job, first year coach. I know she returns 9 of 12. So
Ooh.
and a lot of them are old division defenders and midfielders. So if her defense was good last year, I'm sure it's going to be just as good this year. So
She's replacing a goalie, kind of like West Bab, Erin Tucker, who ironically, I happened to be talking to her dad today, and she's fighting it out for a starting job at Brown as a freshman. So that's a big X factor. I think the goalie is going to be a huge part of success in the
Yeah.
girls' game.
absolutely, I totally agree. C's?
Yeah, let's talk C's.
No, go on. C's, my top four: Sinai, myself, Bayport, West Hampton, and I stuck with the numbers. Again, no bulletin board material here. With Rocky Point, C's obviously, Sinai has done an unbelievable job. Creating what you can call a dynasty over there. Year after year, competing for state championships. Graduated a major senior class last year with Tyrell, the Harloff, both Scataro sisters who are at Notre Dame now. But, just reloading. Gabby Sartori came out last year as a lefty attacker and added to what Megan Tyrell did. Morgan Mitchell's been there for years as a righty attacker. Emma Tyrell. Jenny Markey, who's like one of the best two-way players, I think, on the island personally. I've had the luxury of coaching her a little bit with Under Armour, and kid's a stud. And I think that another X factor is the goalie.
How good is she?
Emily Lampard.
How good is Lampard?
She's awesome. Awesome. I've had her for 2 years with Under Armour as an 8th grader and 9th grader, and quietly goes about her business, but makes every save and more. So super impressed by her. So again, for me and the other schools, it's trying to knock them off.
You're not so bad. Come on.
No, we're good.
Let's talk about, I want to hear about your team.
Let's talk about
enough about
Bayport.
Mount Sinai.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know,
It's Bayport's turn.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We graduated, a strong senior class, 2 of which were the Week sisters who both went to Boston College.
They're legit.
Yeah, big time players to replace, but I think as we said on the phone the other day, I've had kids sitting on the bench for a couple of years now just waiting their turn because they're playing behind, big time D1 talent at midfield. So, Maddie Waters, Ailish Kelly have been on the team since 8th grade. Now they're going to be supported by kids like Jackie Mason, Julia Stanek, Maggie Clark, another really good midfielder going to JMU. Megan Backel, who's been playing defense for me for 2 years, Stony Brook commit. She's a senior, all-county junior. Was not a defender, but made her one because it was so hard to break into our midfield. For the
How
last couple of
crazy
years.
is that?
So
An
hopefully now she can
all-county
break
player,
in.
midi,
Yeah.
who has to play defense because they're that talented.
And kudos to her, and I've said it to her. She played the team role. She wasn't concerned about her own well-being in terms of positioning and stuff. And for her to get the award, I think that was an awesome thing for me personally last year. For her to get that award, having been a defender who's really a midfielder. So she was great for us in transition too. So, but
Everybody should think about what Coach is saying right now about a player deciding to play a position that is not really her position for the betterment of the team and doing it and excelling at it and smiling. Because I remember we interviewed her. The game we covered, you beat Mount Sinai in the regular season. She won Defensive Player of the Game, if I remember correctly.
Right,
and we interviewed her, and she couldn't get her smile off her face. She's the nicest young lady.
Yeah, it's not like you're like a defender who a coach says, hey, I'm going to put you on attack now. You get to score goals. It's like you're going the other way. You're not going to really show up on Newsday as much. You're not going to show up in the stat column besides maybe some ground balls and hopefully cause turnovers. That's impressive.
And I think if you could play out of position like that, she says it herself, playing defense helped her lacrosse IQ. You see the game from the other side, and now all of a sudden you go and play offense. You're like, oh, I know what they're doing. I know how to beat this and things like that. So last week, actually, we were joking. I critiqued something she did at a Winter League game, and she just looked at me with this dead stare. I go, hey, I want you to, talk back. Tell me what you think. And she's like, I'm not used to talking offense with you. I'm used to talking defense. But she's been looking good. So hopefully she could, follow up an all-county defensive year with one as a midfielder. So, Maddie Razade, who's a returning goalie for us, has also been having just an outstanding winter season. So, we're excited, and there's names there that I haven't even touched on, 10th graders, 9th graders who are big additions.
Oh,
for us
yeah.
coming in.
We'll
So,
get there. We'll get there
all
eventually.
right, I'm sure.
We'll be talking about those guys all season.
Yeah.
All right,
so,
who else you got in the C's?
West Hampton knocked us off last year in the semis. It was a tough loss for us, but they're a talented team. Belle Smith, Maureen Duffy, Holly Schleichler, who transfers as an Old County player from
The cousin.
East Hampton. Yeah, the cousin. So
Found her a house,
yeah,
went on Zillow, move her into the community. Watch
we'll
out,
take a few of
Bayport.
those at
Watch
Bayport
out.
as well if you want.
Yeah.
Rongo, you just have some major offensive talent, especially, but Belle Smith's a special talent. Another U19 kid, and you get to know each other. And last year, that playoff game was just a matter of circumstance that they got the best of us, and now it's reload for everybody and just go at it again. And can you make a little minor adjustment here or there that makes a difference? So we'll see. It'll be fun. And then finally, obviously the D's, Rocky Point, who are a team that graduates some big time names. Maddie Sanchez going to Maryland, Christine Bellissimo, the goalie Shannon Maroney, but they still bring back Brie Lamoureux, Megan Greco, Delaney Vu, all an offensive group. A couple of attackers there. Obviously, Brie Lamoureux is probably going to be their big time midfielder this year, but can they? They competed last year with Sinai in the semis, and I'm sure Coach Sanchez.
Who they lose to, Mount Sinai?
In the semis, yeah. I think they played them tight in the first half, and then I think it got away from them a little bit in the second. So, but I wasn't at that one, so I wouldn't totally know. But I was probably licking my wounds.
Oh, you were the first game?
Well, we were just separate site, opposite site, same
Oh.
day, opposite site. So,
How's Coach Maloney's group going to be this year?
I love Coach Maloney, one of my boys. He's a legacy coach of me. He's a good dude, high energy. Brings it every single day on the field. Great talent. The Hogues, obviously, we've been talking about him for years.
How many children are in that family? Is there like 300?
It's Katie, Mackenzie, and Riley.
That's
And then
one family.
Claudia, the goalie, is cousin. I'm not sure if there's any other ones. There might be. Who knows?
Coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, who
maybe.
knows? I don't
I mean,
sure.
how many? I think Mattatuck graduates like 90 kids, right?
Yeah, and 89 of them are Hogs.
They're all women's lacrosse players.
Yeah, so he's got. I think I know he graduated a lot in terms of midfield and defense. And he had a nice, strong team that beat Babylon out for the Class C Suffolk last year and went all the way up and won the states. But when you return two Hogs like Riley and Mackenzie, they're talented, and you add a kid like Francesca Vascazio, who's a lefty low attacker.
She's good.
She's
going to
came out of
post,
nowhere
right?
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, good
People
footer.
I remember talking about that
Vision.
county final game, and she was in the mix for like player of the game. She was playing that well, but then Mackenzie Hogue ended up having like 6 or 7 points.
Well, they graduated.
It's
Di
hard.
Gregorio was very good.
Jane, you had Chelsea Marlborough, who's
Yep.
another up and down.
Went to
midfielder.
Harvard.
Yeah, you had BB, the defender. So they graduated a big part of their defense, but offensively, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's returned.
Did they have a close game in the playoffs?
I don't know how that Carl Place game. No,
No, I don't think it was close there.
It wasn't.
No, even their state semi and state final. I think. I'm trying to remember. I'm sure he'll beat me up for not remembering it, but he always says they don't get respect. So
Well, we respect them. We respect
yeah.
them.
So
We give them respect, right, Cor?
Absolutely.
We love the Tucks.
and then Babylon, who you have Emma Ward and Aaron McQuarrie on that team, and 2 top players that you gotta really plan for. I know last year just in the county final, I think Mattatuck was face guard in one and face guard in both, and requiring other kids to really step in. So
Can anybody beat Mattatuck in the D's, do you think?
I don't think so. Personally,
I think they get off
on Babylon or anybody else. But
No, I don't. It's
Mattatuck's
not.
deep.
Yeah, I mean, they just have too
But
many.
Emma Ward is
Legit?
I mean, yeah, she is one of the best 2020s there is. So
Where's she going, Cuse?
She's Q's kid.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure about Erin where she's going.
I tell you, Cuse has a pipeline to Suffolk County. It's almost like they have somebody that's like living in Suffolk County that's recruiting for them on the girls' side.
They probably do.
Well, they do the recruiting at Sana every year. They do like a clinic, and I think they see a lot of them there. So you always see those Q's orange sticks over like
Yes.
different tournaments, and high school kids obviously using them, things like that.
So we have like 5 minutes, no more. Want to talk real quick about some of the rule changes going on in the girls' game. Talk about the 8 meter, and then also talk about what else is happening.
Free movement.
Okay,
Or not
yeah,
free
yeah.
movement, quick starts?
Yeah.
Quick starts.
So one of the changes is the quick start. So now what's nice about it, it's going to really impact the transition game more than anything. So basically on the whistle, the player closest to the ball can kind of choose when they want to start, and they can either start by actually running with the ball or they can actually pass the ball. Again, it's not exactly like the college game yet. I mean, when the whistle blows, everyone else has to stop. But what's nice is at least we're getting there where the players get to choose how they're going to start it. And I mean, it gives you that advantage in transition. You can really, you have a quick kid that can work in your advantage. So it really is going to make the game go a little bit faster than it does now. So
Sure.
it's exciting.
What else is happening with the
So
rule changes?
the other major one would be the free positions in terms of 8 meters. Now you're drawing an imaginary line from those hanging hashes that are actually off the 8 meter fin, and you're drawing a line down to the dots that are behind. And now, anytime there's an 8 meter position, defenders, offensive kids can't stand anywhere between that line and the goal. So I think it's a bigger game changer than the free positions. I think you're not going to have those low to high slides from a defender that kind of collapses a lane. You're going to see kids get more clean shots off, and probably see the percentage of goals in terms of 8 meters go up. So as we talked about a little bit earlier.
That's why goalie
Yeah.
play is going to be so key.
Yeah.
Goalie play is going to be huge, and then also too teaching your kids the right thing, because again, you get on the 8 meter, that's there's a higher chance it's going to be a goal. So it's going to make scores maybe a little bit higher now, and again, giving those kids, they're really just it's like now really is a free shot because you don't have those defenders being able to crash in and deflect shots and
Yeah,
stuff
and
like
as we
that.
said, you're not getting awarded
No.
those adjacent hashes like the college game. You're going out the shortest route. So if you might have a hash and 2 open, plus nobody below you, and it's 1 on the goalie.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I'm not sure how hot I am on it just yet, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Sure, and I'm sure strategy will come into play throughout the year of how
Yeah.
you can maybe create some of those opportunities for yourself without giving too many tricks away. We don't have to talk about that right now, but I'm sure that'll come.
Can we
come
touch
into
on the
play.
USA thing just to talk
Yeah.
real quick?
So
There's some pictures. We got some pictures of those girls.
yeah, so let's do pictures like 14 through 20, Frank. If you got those numbers. I'm sorry. Pictures like 14 through 20. We'll flip through those. Yes.
Choma.
Yeah,
that's
so,
Choma.
Yeah, we'll
ESM.
start there. So what we did is we compiled all 9, I believe, of the Long Islanders who are currently on the, I guess, the top 30 roster
Yep.
for the U19
Yeah.
USA team.
They're doing a really cool thing. They're all going out to Stanford University, and they're playing in a showcase.
out in February, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, end of January.
Oh, in
Yes, you're
January.
right.
There
End
you
of
go. Yep.
January. And the girls, just to list the 9 Long Island girls, I just want to list who they are. You got Casey Chalmers from ESM, who's only a junior. Belle Smith from West Hampton, who's also a junior. Hannah Heller from West Bab, who's a senior. Katie DeSimone from St. Anthony's, who's a junior. Allison Palermo, who's playing right now at Northwestern, who's just finished her freshman year there.
From Seaford, yep.
She's from Seaford. I think she played at St. A's, right?
No, she played at Seaford.
She did?
Seaford, yeah.
Even
Seaford
better.
kid, yep.
Shannon Boyle, she's the one who went to St. A's, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
she's a Hofstra.
Yep.
right?
She's at Hofstra. Alexandra Murphy, who's at UMass, who's a Wanto girl. And then Shannon Berry, who's a Ward Melville. She's at Princeton, I believe.
Courtney.
And
She's one of those Ivies down there.
Yeah.
yeah,
One of
I
those
think
smart kids.
I think she's at Princeton.
Yeah, Princeton sounds.
And then Sophie DeRosa, CSH state champ, who's at Brown.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. So kudos to those 9 girls. That's 30% of the roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be a Ghana for nothing, but it should be 50% LA.
Yeah.
That's just me.
That's the number I was thinking
Yeah.
too.
Were you thinking that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. So we're going to take a little commercial break, and we want to thank our guests.
Yeah,
Thank you,
so
Rye.
much.
Thank
We
you,
appreciate
You're
Carolyn.
coming
welcome.
on.
You're welcome.
Good luck with your beautiful children.
Thank you. Thank you
real
very
quick,
much.
how can someone follow your teams throughout the year, maybe on social media, or how can they stay connected with Locust Valley and Bayport lacrosse?
Instagram. The girls absolutely love Instagram, so you'll be able to follow us through that. They'll be posting pictures, probably crazy videos, but that's one of the best ways to kind of follow us.
Cool.
Twitter at BBP Phantom Lax, which is definitely like dormant right now. Fatherhood is
Bring it back to
definitely-
life in the spring.
Fatherhood is definitely killing my my Twitter experience. So hopefully this spring I'll be back at it. So soon enough.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Great job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
New York, represent tomorrow in a real special way. You've earned it. Give everything you got. Understand why you're here.
It's not a birth. It's a rebirth.
Right around 2006, 2007, there was talk that the Empire State Games might get defunded. When the economy crashed in 2008, they had let us know that 2009 would be the last Empire team.
As a player, trying to think about what am I supposed to do with this gift that I have.
Back when we were growing up, the greatest thing was to be able to represent New York and represent your area. And it's just to bring that camaraderie of New York State kind of fighting for something.
1, 2, 3, Central! Here we go, boys.
I think this event is special because it's going to be that level of organization. It's going to be that level of being about the kid himself. When that happens, the college coaches show up.
8 teams from all corners of New York State. When it comes to boys high school lacrosse, they're the best of the best. The New York State Regional Championships. Where will you be?
Hopefully you enjoyed our video of the New York State Regional Championship event. We have 2 guys sitting next to us who we'll introduce in a second who were involved in the event, which is pretty cool. And we try to get some of the best high school lacrosse coaches in general on the boys' side around Long Island involved in the New York State event, which is something that is basically, the Empire Games, but we brought that back. So the best kids from all around the state of New York come together at Binghamton, compete for a gold medal. Pretty cool. We're doing that again this year, and it's going to be bigger and hopefully better. So that's what that is. Coach Wink, you want to introduce our guests, and then we'll get into how Nassau and Suffolk boys lacrosse is set up?
Absolutely. I'd love to introduce him. To my right is Coach Eric Dunn. He's the Farmingdale High School assistant coach and a great coach and an Albany grad and a Wanta High School grad.
Damn right.
And an FLG coach. And to his right is the great Tommy Zumo, an NYIT grad, 4-time All-American, and the iSlip assistant coach last year for the state champs. And more importantly, the dad of 2 beautiful girls. Welcome, man.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
for having us, man. Happy to be here.
So, Cord, we're going to you want to get right into it and go over how everything's broken up?
Yeah, let's start with Don. You want to start with Nassau County? Talk a little bit how it's broken up, how it works?
Yeah, Nassau County is all going to be based on school size, except for when you get into the B and C conferences. The easiest conference to understand is Class D. There's one team, and Coach Soap has done a great job of winning back-to-back county championships in Nassau County. So they get kind of lumped in with the Class C when they go to the regular season. Class A is pretty straightforward as well. 13 teams, 8 make it. But when we get into B's and the C's, they have very interesting setups. So in Nassau County, you have 20 overall B teams, and they break it into B1 and B2, and it's based on power conference. So the B1 conference has 8 teams. They play each other, and they're all going to make the playoffs. And then B2, only the top 4 teams make that out of 12 teams total. So, and they have to be the lowest 4 seeds. So seeding really comes into play a lot in B1, B2, because again, if you take that top seed in B2, you can't get higher than that 9 seed. Mm-hmm. So you may go undefeated in conference play, your team's feeling great about yourselves, but then you're probably catching Garden City or Manhasset in that first round. And the same thing is kind of who gets that 8 seed in B1, because you could very well go 0-7 in your league and then, have an early exit still in the playoffs. So, it's kind of the similar setup in C, where they have 10 teams in C1, and they've got 9 teams in C2, although they take all 10 again in C1, and only 2 teams from C2 make it. And obviously Oyster Bay doesn't get factored into that kind of playing game or anything else like that. So they get their own, they're in the regular season with them, they're in a conference, but they don't actually get counted for the C's for playoffs.
Cool. And then, let's go into Suffolk. Let's talk about their alignment, and then we'll talk top teams.
Yeah, so Suffolk, similar to the girls, for those that listen, is kind of broken up into Division 1, 23 teams, and then that's all Class A. And then Division 2, which is Class B, C, and D, which is 23 teams. So it's pretty evenly split. The way the seedings work is the coaches hash it out. You rank every team 1 through 23 on your own opinion. They tally up. So if you're the top team, you get 1 all the way down. So the team with the least amount of points the other night is the 1 seed, all the way down to the 23. And then your schedule is based, 14-game schedule based on where you are. So if you're seeded 1, you play teams 2 through 15. Mm-hmm. And 2 is a home game, 3 is an away game for it, vice versa all the way down. And then it kind of seeds that way. So you get a kind of a balanced schedule based on your seed. And then for playoff purposes, it's power points. So everything's based on winning percentage of your wins and losses. And then for Class A, I think there's 13 teams that make the playoffs, or 11, I'm not sure what it was this year. And then for Class B, they break it up. There was 6 teams last year. Class C, there was 5. And then Class D, there was 3. And that's how they kind of break it out throughout the year. One year we did something different, and we played, broke into leagues and played everybody, and then if you were 500, you got in, and that kind of changed. So what I don't like is that we don't get an opportunity to play outside of our conference too much. So you get 2 non-league games, so you can't play the Farmingdales, the Garden Cities, challenge yourself a little bit throughout the year. You're kind of stuck playing your schedule, which hopefully at some point in time that may change, but knowing the way the coaches are, probably not.
All right, so let's talk about some of Coach Dunn, your top picks. We can debate it. We can talk about it. If anyone wants to comment on it, now's a good time. In Nassau County, let's start with the A's, and then maybe
in Class A. I mean, I think we have to start off with Massapequa. They're 2-time defending county champs. They have a tremendous amount of talent coming back. This is a class that has like 7 or 8 kids that have contributed for the last 3 years. So not only do they return a lot of players like Angelo Petrakis, the faceoff ex, Kenny Brower is coming off of an injury. He's a Duke commit. Garrett Gibbons going to Maryland. Logan Tucker going to Albany. And then Colin Gleason going to Siena. And in there, Caramelli, Greenblatt. And then they're also going to get back Sam Lufty as well, who's a Hofstra commit.
And his younger brother's pretty good too, no?
Yeah,
Is he a
good.
sophomore or junior?
I believe he's a sophomore. And then you also have Brendan Nickturn as well.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's right.
Who's also going to be a sophomore for them. So they've got a ton of talent on offense. They returned 3 players from last year, not necessarily starters on defense, but obviously Coach Radomski and Coach Powers do a great job of teaching defense over there. So they're going to be the team to beat. And I think that they'd like to try and get back to that Nassau County final and give a challenge and get a run at Suffolk, because they've come really close the last 2 years trying to get off that island. And this is really going to be their year, because that senior class is loaded. They're going to move on to Syosset. Syosset's going to be also kind of like their senior heavy team. Their team's a lot of seniors and sophomores. Again, their best player, in my opinion, is obviously Jack Monfort going to Yale. He rounds out a midfield with Riccati and Lyons. Lyons is going to Manhattan. And their face-off guy, Lebston's really one of their best players as well. He's probably the second best face-off guy in our conference. So they'll have the ball a ton, along with guys like A.J. Alexander, Buetti. And they're going to have their biggest holes on defense. They return Jason Singer, but the rest of the guys are going to be kind of all new faces after graduating Danny Oakes and a couple others. And then obviously we're the 3 seed. We have a lot of guys coming back, but we've been young for a couple of years. We graduated 5, Division I guys last year. So that to us was a big loss, mostly on the defensive end. But we'll have a lot of guys who are coming along who we expect to fill in and be able to step in those roles. But our junior class is very very heavy, and also our seniors that are playing, they're very talented. So we expect to be very competitive this year as well. And then that 4th spot's kind of a toss-up between Port Washington and Oceanside. They had 2 battles last year. The first game I was at, I remember, got kind of chippy and nasty. And I expect it to kind of be the same way this year after listening to how the seeding meeting went. There was a lot of debate about who was going to be the 4 and who was going to be the 5.
What's the benefit? Is there a benefit?
I don't know if there's a benefit. I think the 4 gets a better schedule home and away really than the 5 does.
That's why they want.
Yeah.
That's why they fight over it.
Yeah, and especially Nassau County traffic. You don't want to be driving to Port Washington or Oceanside.
That's true.
At 3:30 in the afternoon, or more importantly, 6 o'clock
Especially
at night
in a
on your way
bus.
home.
Sure.
Yeah, there's no good way to get around traffic in there. So
Can't get on the Southern State with a bus.
yeah, and you know what? Historically, both teams have taken a fair share of fouls. So, it'll be interesting. Coach Rob Blount is new to the conference, and I think he'll have those guys ready to play. They've got some big athletes over at Oceanside coming off of another good football season, and Port returns a lot of young talent as well.
I find it interesting that, you see the head coach of the football team or the assistant?
Yeah, the head coach.
So you got the head coach of a pretty, solid football program now becoming the head coach of a lacrosse program. You're getting the best athletes who have any interest in potentially playing lacrosse and being all in. And I think there's got to be some sort of crossover there from a leadership perspective, culture building, all those things. I think they're going to fall into place like right away. What do you think? I mean,
it's always very helpful when you have somebody who's obviously built a program, has head coaching experience, has idea about how to build culture. I mean, we obviously had Buddy Krumenacker involved in our lacrosse program at Farmingdale for a really long time, and we still have a great relationship with Coach Krum. So a lot of our off-season stuff revolves around making sure we can make time for each other to be able to either have those guys in the weight room with football while we're working on our off-season, or in the summertime making sure that we're letting them get in there 7-on-7s and lifting while we're doing our summer activities. So I think having those 2 programs obviously combined, and having a guy who knows everybody, the best athletes in those grades, is nothing but an asset. And Coach Blount works really hard at football. I assume he'll bring that same work ethic to lacrosse.
What do you got in the B's done?
Again, returning state champs, Garden City. They got the 2 seed, which I thought was really
wow. I was shocked.
How does that happen?
Someone explain that to me.
I think Coach Fennell likes bulletin board material. I think he likes maybe he likes taking the wood stick and having it over in Manhasset and not in Garden City. But I think that when you look at them on paper, though, I still think after watching the county final live last year, I didn't get to see the wood stick, but I did get to see the county final. The type of players that Garden City is returning with the kind of experience they had last year going to the state. they're built from the goal out as far as, they got a solid goalie. They've got 3 really solid defensemen, especially when you talk about Bocafola and Hart. They've got a great face-off guy in Coppola.
Love that
They've
kid.
got some guys that can put, the ball in the back of the net. Trevor Yeboah Cody is a great in-between-the-lines guy, a workhorse. Bazil can finish around the cage. They've just got a tremendous amount of talent. They're always battle-tested. Coach Fennell plays a ridiculous non-league schedule. I hate talking great about Garden City being a Wantagh guy, but he's got them headed in a great direction.
You got to respect what
absolutely.
Steve Fennell has done
Absolutely.
since he took over that program. And I say this every time since he took over that program. He plays the hardest schedule in Long Island.
Oh, yeah.
They get a lot more non-league games than Suffolk, obviously, but he'll play anybody.
Absolutely.
I love that. That's why they could lose 3 of those games, and that helps them in the States.
And I think he's got like a really great perspective. Obviously one of the assistants, Coach Holman, works for us at FLG, and we talk a lot about, where they want to be in the beginning of the year and how they view their non-league schedule and where they want to be at the end of the year. And I also think that you talked before about football and buy-in. There's a program in football that's had a lot of success, following game plans, preparing for opponents. And I think that really translates well when you talk about to lacrosse. And I think that you saw that as they progressed over the course of the season last year, as they kind of found their identity. And then you have Manhasset. I think Manhasset's the clear 2. They've got also a tremendous amount of young talent. Obviously, they returned some really talented guys at attack. You have Lou Perfetto going to BU. Mark Silos was their face-off guy a year ago. I think he's going to be a stud for them again. Eddie Arnold going to UPenn is obviously a really great close defender. They've got some really young talent. When you talk about Aiden Mulholland, the Michigan commit, who's probably the best midfielder in that grade, maybe in the entire nation for the 2021 class.
Tolentino kid's good.
Tolentino is great.
Got Barrett.
And also Timmy Barrett playing long stick midi. So they've got poles that can play you kind of all over the field. And I also think they got poles that can kind of play in transition. Chris Glenn.
I was just going to say his name. He could be the guy, if he plays to his potential, that makes the difference for them.
And again, I think for them it's going to be about, the progression over the course of the season and, where do they see themselves in the county final. I know they played a similar zone in the Woodstick as they did in the counties. We'll see if they kind of
change it up against a football coach.
Try and win the Woodstick, or are you trying to win the county championship?
Exactly.
But again, a tremendous amount of young talent, and you got to think that they're going to continue to get better and better over the course of the year as well. And then the South Side Cyclones making a push. I think they've got an up-and-coming program.
Don't sleep on the Cyclones.
Yeah, I talked to Coach DePietro a lot.
They almost knocked off GC in the semis.
Well, listen, they play great defense led by Nick Lacalzi, who's a stud going to Navy. The
Captain America, you mean?
Yeah, he's I think the best LSM on the island, and he can play guys all over the field. He's great in transition. And they're getting a lot of the guys who usually would go to Catholic school to kind of start to stay back in Southside. And I think that's a team that's really going to be interesting to challenge those other 2 guys who've kind of had a stranglehold on the
Southside Chaminade non-league game. That's got to happen. What do you think?
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
We'll be covering that.
I'd say it'd be fist fights, but it may just be who's picking up the bar tab later instead. And then the 4 seed, Jim Feminella has done a great job with Calhoun. Nick Torini, for the West Point commit, is a stud on attack. You
play them, right?
We don't play them, no.
You play Cary.
We play Cary, yeah. They're not on our schedule. I just, I've seen him in the Nassau game. I also, he's following everybody else. He's scoring goals, being one of the main components of that offense against really good teams, which isn't easy when all that's kind of riding on you. And then I think that B1 has really the rest of it's the most interesting conference. Because although you had a lot of teams with losing records last year, they were really young. So like Cary, I know, returned a ton. Long Beach returns a ton. Even MacArthur. MacArthur, I think, is going to be a really interesting team too. You have Hugh Kelleher, who again in Nassau is probably the best 2020 midfielder.
Did he really?
Nice, good for him.
Oh, congratulations!
That's awesome.
Shout out to you. Congrats.
And then their ninth grade class is really, really talented from what I saw at those Nassau-Suffolk tryouts last year, too. So I'll be interested to see where MacArthur fits into that whole kind of mid-level.
What do you think about Hewlett dropping to the last seed after, they've been in the semis the last, 2 or 3 years?
Well, I think, again,
I don't know. I think it's
losing Vidaro's.
A little disrespectful.
Yeah.
Vidaro's going to run first midfield for Princeton.
Okay, but they got some other dudes that could play, and they're well coached.
They do. They do have some
I don't know. They dropped to the bottom of the I don't know.
Well, I think you have to look at the total package of everything, and it's not just Vidaro. Adler's gone too. Adler was by far and away their best defenseman. He was a ground ball guy, a face-off wing guy.
Vacuum, that kid.
He made a lot of plays for those guys, and really the offense ran through Vidaro. When you looked at who was responsible for creating, for who was responsible for, it was really just off-ball motion and shooters. I mean, some of the guys they have coming back are talented. Rovner scored a bunch of goals for those guys last year.
Got their goalie back,
Their
Max
goalie's
May.
good.
Yeah, May is good.
They got a good face-off
Very
kid
good.
in Levitz and some other dude that can run around.
Yeah,
pick
but
up
you know
ground
what?
balls.
Like again,
I don't know his name.
For those guys too, they also rely on getting on a lead.
Yeah.
They kept a lot of games close last year. I know Coach Corbin really slows it down and tries to milk the clock. And against teams like Manhasset and Garden City, if you have that face-off guy, it's just going to be too hard to really kind of be successful in that manner.
Cool. All right, let's talk C's now.
One thing.
Yeah, sorry.
Got to talk about one young gun at Cary. Who am I talking about?
Oh, my boy.
Yeah.
Oh, JoJo?
JoJo Tadaro, yeah.
That kid is
He's
an
the
absolute
best.
goat.
Dude, I love that kid's game.
Yeah. I mean,
He's a 21, right?
he's a 21. I mean, he's a Syracuse Smith, but, talk
Oh, he's
about-
committed?
Yeah, he's committed.
When
Yeah.
he commit in like 8th grade or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Back before the
I'm going to
JoJo.
shout
Back
out to
when- back-
Leland Rogers. Call him every day.
Yeah.
back when college recruiting was the wild, wild west, and they were
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize he
claiming
committed.
rights to future generations.
He's good. That kid's good.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's a good kid, too.
That I would say, for having gotten a chance to work with him both the last 2 summers. Not only is he a great player, but I mean, talk about a leader of men. That's a kid going forward who's going to be really, really successful in life. We're talking about the C's. Colesburg Harbor is your defending county champions. They return the Striano at midfield, Caden Hawkinson, who just recently committed to Michigan. They got a great face-off guy in Gennaro,
DiGennaro.
And Godolfo.
And
Yeah, they got
Gandolfo.
two good
They got
ones.
two.
I thought that was one of the best games I watched last year was that county final against Wanto, where they were going back and forth, between who was winning the face-off battle. I thought that really added a nice ebb and flow to the entire game.
The Wanto kid's
guys,
good.
yeah, they went on
Very
streaks,
good.
both of them, and
What's
that's
the
what I was
Wanto
gonna
kid's
say.
name?
Di Matteo.
Yep.
Kid's good.
Yeah, really good.
Is he committed?
I don't think so.
Hofstra.
He just got
Yeah.
just recently.
He's good, that kid.
Yeah. And then I think, Wanto is another team that's got tons of talent. They return Kyle Craig on defense, who's an all-county returner. Nick Tereski, who I think might be one of the better attackmen in all of Nassau County.
I like that kid.
Yeah.
I like Insignia, too.
Little Von Bargen, who's a tenacious little midfielder, two-way guy, great on ground balls, great first step.
It's going to be a big season for Polo to step in there and
Yeah.
dethrone.
This
Bond.
is huge.
Yeah.
If he does it, that'll be huge.
Yep.
Coach Polo taking over for Coach Schiffo, longtime Wanto coach.
How long was Chiff there?
I mean, as long as I can remember, he really built that program
He didn't
up.
coach you, did he?
Oh, yeah, he sure did. He'd been there for years before
And
I got there.
you've been out of school how long?
2002, so 16 years.
So he's been.
Yeah.
He coached, but then he took a hiatus for a little bit and came back.
He was out for about maybe 3 or 4 years. He went to be the athletic director, got the turf facility built over at Wantaw, got another gym built, and then decided to come back to coaching and teaching.
Good man.
Won a
The
state
best.
championship with this
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, Patty Walsh.
2001 teams, yeah.
Yeah.
Finished
Coach
number
Don
2 in the country.
Martosh.
22 wins.
22nd win, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, for our boy, Scotty.
22 wins.
Well, it was the 22nd win was the state championship.
That's
Our
a
boy
lot.
Scott DeVerna was passed away when he
22.
was a sophomore. Would have been his senior year.
Who's wearing the 22 this year for Wanta? Who do you think?
Ooh, I don't know. Not off the top of my head. I'm not sure, That's usually...
Do they vote on that, do you know?
They usually vote on it, and the kids always pick the right person.
Yeah.
It's not always about just who's the best player, but it's about the person who exemplifies what Scott was all about, which was being a great teammate, being a great leader, a worker, And
Was that your senior class?
no, I'm a year younger. So Scotty was a year older than me. But that was my junior year, and just all the types of things that came together that year. Like I said, state championship being our 22nd game. With 22 seconds left, the ball rang off the crossbar against Yorktown when Crockett was coming in pretty much one-on-one with our goalie, in a tie game. There's just all sorts of things that give you the heebie-jeebies about Scotty DeVerna.
God bless him.
And Coach Schiffo did a great job last year getting those guys in the county final, and unfortunately he slipped away from it. I would have loved to have seen him go out.
He had that game.
With a county championship. Great man. And he left a really good program to Coach Polo. So all the best to Coach Polo out there. Hope you guys crush it this year as an alum. And then we're moving on to Locust Valley, where Coach Jimmy Casper's got a ton of guys coming back as well. A lot of offensive talent. Good young face-off guy in Ben Ferrara. Their biggest thing is they had last year was going to be making sure they stop guys on defense, and I'm sure Coach Hartraft, who was one of my mentors, is going to have his work cut out for him, getting those guys to make sure they batten down the hatches. And if they can do that, they've got a ton of firepower. And like I said, a good face-off guy. And then kind of rounding out the C's, you have Bethpage and you have Floral Park. Both teams return a good amount of talent. The Bethpage guys, we played them last year, very athletic. A lot of football guys, again, who translate over to lacrosse. Led by Alex Keener going to St. Joe's on defense.
I like that kid.
Yep. Kevin Leone, the face-off guy. Kevin Groom, another defenseman. Brandon Beston, who's a little lefty attackman, very shifty. And then Floral Park, Mitchell Kozak had a ton of goals going to UMBC. Coach Ryan Oblage has done a great job of getting that program back where it belongs and contending for those Class C wins. He had a great year last year, 10-6, with a couple real signature wins. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of shake out as well. But I think that CD conference, Coach Laley and Lynbrook are never out of it. North Shore, is always going to be competitive. So those two conferences, it'll be interesting to see who finishes in that 4, 5, 6 kind of spot.
Cool. Let's talk Suffolk Lax. Zumo.
Talk Suffolk.
So start wherever you want.
No, I'll start with the A's, obviously. They're the Ward Melville, 2-time state defending champ. They had a big hit with Frankie Snigler going down with a knee injury. I'm sure he'll try to get himself back. Offensively, Dylan Palinetti's as good as they get. I think they're obviously the favorite until someone dethrones them. Face-off guys, Matt Wang is going to be one of the guys they got there. I think they have like 7 different guys that are all committed to Division I schools. Defensively, they're going to be strong again. Patty O'Neill going to Brown. They got Ethan Larson going to North Carolina. Colin Krieg in goals, probably the best 2020 goalie in the country. We'll see what they figure out to replace Hobbs and some of those middies this year, scoring-wise, but it's going to be hard to get the ball from them and hard to score on them.
Mm-hmm. Where's their offense going to come from? Because Palinetti can't be the only kid, can he? I know he's great.
He can be. I mean,
he could shoot.
Can be.
But I mean,
they have a lot of. It's Ward Melville, man. They reload.
It's so true.
They do, and they have a lot of kids that
it's in the blood
in that program that can play. They have some young studs that I'm sure that are working their way up right now, getting through the.
I saw 2 of them that played for you. They're like freshmen, right?
Yeah.
Raffini and who's the big kid?
Kevin Dolan.
Oh my God.
Those guys I'm sure they'll be playing JV this year, learning, getting through the thick of it. But I think that Ward Melville is going to be.
We played them this summer, and they just rolled out one 6'2" athlete after another.
Yeah, you never even heard of them. So
yeah,
but you'll hear about them this year. Right. That's for sure. Coach Negus, Muscarella, Murphy, those guys do a great job.
They do.
They do an incredible job.
It's a college program.
Coach Muscarella is one of the best defensive coaches I've ever seen. Sorry, but he has. I've seen him with certain teams just change the defensive scheme per player. Different slide packages for every player. Has different calls. They're all on the same page, and they do an incredible job. They play a lot together in the summer, and it's impressive to watch them play and coach.
It is impressive.
Smithtown West, though, I got to give them a lot of credit this year. They got the best face-off guy probably in the country right now in Connor Calderon. He's amazing. Him and Petrakis are probably 2 of the best. Defensively, they return Eli going to Utah.
I like that kid a lot.
Yep, they got Christian Lau going to Stony Brook. Not sure what the goalie situation is going to be this year. It's between a senior and a junior. Junior that plays for me is Michael Simone. I think he could be the guy. He's got to step up a little bit vocally and see what happens. Offensively, they got Cadigan. They got Mark Cottage. They got just a lot of different guys in his system. Johnny Hoffman. Yeah, Johnny Providence. Johnny's going to be the quarterback of that offense with Cadigan in midfield and going back and forth with a lot of those guys, watching them play. I think this is their year. The 2019 group for them is their solid core.
Yeah.
So I think if this is going to be the year that they dethrone them with all the things that are happening at Melville Town, this will be their year. So I root for those guys to do as well as they can and see what happens there. Then I'm going to skip. I know the Coaches Association voted Wes Islip as the 3. Coach Corcoran's a great guy, and I think the team's going to be solid. I don't know if they're going to be able to, surpass any of those 2 teams. I think Northport and Bayshore might be better teams this year. I think Bayshore is going to surprise a lot of people. Again, strong 19 core. Not necessarily anybody that's going to jump off the page and say they're the best player in the county, but a really, really solid team. Returned 10 starters. Got a solid goalie. They got, a decent face-off guy.
What's that kid's name? He's a little guy.
Who's that?
The goalie.
Jason Tingay. He's a sophomore.
Yeah, he's good.
I believe he might be close to come into the school in the next week or 2. So I think that'll help boost his confidence.
I spoke to Timmy. I think Timmy feels confident this year.
Yeah, he's good. I think they're going to try to fly a little bit under the radar. Yeah. And I guess they get them in a non-league game, so we'll get them early in the year.
Oh, I might have to watch that one.
They beat us the last time we played them, so we owe them one. So.
They beat you last year?
No, the year before. We went to Tennessee last year. We didn't get to play them, but and then Northport. I think they returned 11 guys. And the best part about Northport is Coach Shearing got to coach me in college. I think he's a phenomenal coach. He's going to have these guys ready. He's retired, so he's got a little bit more time now to dive into the video, and prepare for these games. Sal Michio is a sleeper lefty attackman, big kid. He's thinning out, becoming more of a
Sacred
leader.
Heart stole him.
They did.
They stole him.
They stole him, and I think he's gonna.
It's a good pickup.
And I think Coach Chanachuk up at Sacred Heart's gonna love having him and coaching him up there.
Channy's all over Suffolk.
Yeah, they have a solid group of guys, and then the one thing in Northport, I don't know if they'll crack the lineup this year, but their 2022 class is killer. They dominated the New York State regional thing. I think they had like 6 or 7 kids on that team, all defensive players. So they're going to be strong. I know he has a really good, strong group of senior middies this year that I think are just sound.
What do you think of Riverhead?
Riverhead's good. I think they got a low seed. I don't know why they got that seed. I think they're probably in the top 6 teams. Coach Guaz is going to do. He's always been that guy that kind of floats under the radar. He was at Floyd for years. Was at Shoreline River coaching JV for a while. Learned from some great coaches. I think they got some stud attackmen. They have a great face-off guy. Question marks will be how good will they be defensively? What's going to happen in the cage? But they're going to be able to score goals. I think that's really Class A. I don't see much of anybody else challenging in that sense, but you never know. Anything's possible. Injuries happen and things like that. You guys, anything you want to add about Class A?
No. We could probably talk all night about just Class A Suffolk. So.
Yeah. Well, as Coach O'Connell used to, I don't know if you know this, but Justin O'Connell told us that Suffolk A is the SEC of high school lacrosse.
All right. I got to take Smith County has a coach, Rob Campbell.
Rob Campbell?
Rob Campbell is a Smith County coach,
Stony
I believe. Yeah, I think he might have been announced.
Oh, he's Canadian, right?
Canadian, yeah.
Love that. Is he the first Canadian coaching Long Island lacrosse?
No, Mike Taylor.
Oh, Mike Taylor might be the first.
Yeah, he might be the first.
Oh, we got to talk. Now we have Canadians coaching.
It's crazy.
This game is
so we move
exploding.
Move over to the Bees. Comswag was seeded the highest B school, and I think the 2021 group for them defensively is lights out. They probably have if he's not the best, second best goalie, I think, in the country right now. The kid Heller.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
He's unbelievable.
He should be in the Under Armour game. I called Merrick Thompson from Albany. He's going to Albany.
Yep.
And I said, you got to get this kid in the Under Armour game. Everybody's got to see this kid play.
I agree. He's got to be in that game.
Sorry, I just had to say that. I had a shout out for Tommy.
He's great. Then you had Eastport, who seems to always be up there. They got Huff, his nephew. He just he flipped from West Point to Penn State. Tough as nails.
He's a meat.
He is a meat. He does get a lot of penalties, but he strikes fear in the players he plays against.
He's great.
And he's definitely that heartbeat. And they got some good young talent on that team that I think is going to help round them out a little bit.
You see them as the 2 in B?
I see them as a 2.
Okay.
East Islip, they're there, man. They play that funky zone.
Crazy zone.
Funky zone. I know they graduated 2 good goalies, so I don't know who their goalie's going to be this year. Face-off guys.
But he's a goalie, the head coach, right?
Yeah.
Or was that his brother?
No, the whole family was.
They're all goalies.
They're all goalies, and then they kind of convert back and forth to playing. As Ryan's laughing, they play all over the place. There's like 7 of them. They play goal, they play attack, they play midfield. But the problem is at East Islip is that it's him and one coach. They don't have any help. Oh, really? So it's really hard to focus on offense, defense, and skill work. Okay. And I think that's kind of partial.
Which mic?
Sorry, guys.
I'm going through some mic issues.
Yeah, it's something's crazy.
Should we start yelling?
Because that mic his mic is now off, and it's just nuts.
Who, Tommy's is?
I just shut it off, and it's all kinds of.
Do you want me to give him you want me to give him my mic?
It's got nothing to do with that. There's all kinds of RF right now, and I don't know which mic it is. So.
Okay.
What is it like?
You want to do it? You want to do a commercial break?
My mic? Do we have anything to do about a commercial with? Change Corey's battery.
Do you want to go to put that tape on real quick, and we'll come back?
I can just step out. Just take over. Yeah, I'll just.
You're sacrificing Corey for the
I'd
good of the show.
I'd rather have the good-looking guy on the set than me.
Good-looking guys, right? Look at yourself. Did you go to commercial? Yeah, that's bring it up right now.
Tomorrow in a real special way. You've earned it. Give everything you got. Understand why you're here.
It's not a birth. It's a rebirth.
Right around 2006, 2007, there was talk that the Empire State Games might get defunded. When the economy crashed in 2008, they had let us know that 2009 would be the last Empire team.
Let's go. Let's go. 3, 1, 2, 3.
As a player, trying to think about what am I supposed to do with this gift that I have.
Back when we were growing up, the greatest thing was being able to represent New York and represent your area. And it's just to bring that camaraderie of New York State kind of fighting for something.
1, 2, 3, Central! Here we go, boys.
I think this event is special because it's going to be that level of organization. It's going to be that level of being about the kid himself. When that happens, the college coaches show up.
8 teams from all corners of New York State. When it comes to boys high school lacrosse, they're the best of the best. The New York State Regional Championships. Where will you be?
New York, represent tomorrow in a real special way. You've earned it. Give everything you got. Understand why you're here.
Action.
All right, so back to East Islip that we were saying. I think East Islip's got one of the best quarterbacks in John Sidorsky. He's a natural midfielder. I think that's where he's committed to Lehigh to play midfield, but he's just a pain to deal with. People try to face guard him. They do a good job of running guys off picks. Robert Krush, who's coming, I'm hoping he's going to be healthy. He's just had shoulder surgery, so hopefully he'll be healthy for them. He's going to be a really good midi for them. And Colby Rogers is one of the better face-off guys that's uncommitted out there. So I think East Islip's going to battle in that sense.
See a junior?
Yeah.
I took his mic out. He's still getting it.
Whoa, it's worse. You want to switch mics then?
I'd say it's.
Should assume Will's voice.
Maybe.
People just don't want to hear about stuff lacrosse.
Maybe not.
That's my brother. He can't have anything to tell us.
Is that Kevin's
He
dad?
actually said great coverage of all the boys and girls lacrosse.
Thanks,
He's
Uncle
just a
Rich.
very nice person.
There you go.
I say teaching. Both the shows and breaks on. Let's see what happens. It's not both of these.
Why don't we have people read our lips?
You should do one of those NFL things. They do like the
Or just put up signs?
yeah.
Whatever you did, I think that just make it go away. Make it go away? Totally.
Are we good? All right, we're going to go back in. We're past East Islip yet? Is Sidorsky going to Lehigh or Brown?
Oh, did he flip?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
You starting rumors again?
No, I heard he was going to Brown.
I don't know. But I think the
Sky.
the
The
sleeper
rumor
B
mill.
school is Hills West.
Kick, what do you
They
think?
got more talent than anybody on the field athletically, but they don't have is a goalie and a faceoff
I
guy.
know.
Yeah, that's tough.
But Filardi is a human freak of nature. Justin Brown athletically is one of the premier athletes. Football, lacrosse, it doesn't matter. He's athletic. Christian Muley is still solid left-handed attackman who can score.
Yeah. Puts the ball in the goal.
The goal is going to hurt them.
Let's talk C's here, Zooms.
C's.
State champs, 18s. Let's go. Who's
So number one seed is Mount Sinai. Hands down, I think they gave us a great game last year twice. They probably should have beat us in one of them, not the last one. They return Mike Sabella defensively. They return,
I heard he's an animal.
he's a mean human being.
In a good way.
They graduated a goalie in Seguida who's down at Jacksonville, so that's a question mark for them. Harold Drum is a phenomenal defensive coach. They do a tremendous job with schemes. So they'll settle it up there, figure out what's going to go on. They have some good 22s. I don't know if they'll break for them. They have a kid in AJ Volkman who's a 21 that might break the lineup as well. So we'll see how that plays out. Offensively, you got to hand it down. Joey Spalina, as an 8th grader last year, was I don't know, one of the hardest guys to cover. He's not a guy that's running by you. He's not a guy that's split dodging you. He'll eventually get there, but he's just so smart. His IQ's off the charts. You double him to his face, he makes the right feed, behind the back, between his legs. It doesn't matter. He's going to finish. And he makes everybody else around him better. Russell Marr, lefty attackman, going to Virginia now, is athletically one of the best lefty attackmen out there. Huge, good range. DeMayo's back. He's healthy. Boscarino's back. Tyler Gass is one of the best 21 breakdown midfielders there are out there. You got Sweeney facing off for them this year, who they split time last year. I think he'll probably be the guy this year. So they're all together a good squad. Luke DeQuino's a heck of an offensive coach. Always comes up with some nice little wrinkles. So I think he'll have fun with this offensive group.
Was he a teammate of yours?
Yeah, man. 1 year old.
All the finest.
Great Danes.
He was a Sachem guy too,
Yeah.
All-American high school.
We won't hold that against him.
Yeah. The Sean Wadey River, I think, is the next team up there. They have the X Factor and Xavier Arline. Athletically, it's hard guy to cover. They graduated a lefty attackman. I know they have some sophomores they're probably looking at right now. And then who the other attackman's going to be. Midfield-wise, though, they got kid Gregoric, who faced off. He's kind of like a jackknife. He could play anywhere. Semino, if healthy, hopefully he is, will contribute. Johnny Schwartz, another midfielder, 21.
They got sophomores. They got a lot of sophomores.
Yep, his twin brother will probably contribute defensively. Sophomore. Jake Wilson, defenseman, will contribute at a high level. Liam Daly in goal, back again. Second year as a starter, going to Stony Brook. Hopefully that helps. Trevor Kessel. Jack Schertzer at this point in time is a part of that team, and I think if all those guys are there, that's a pretty good squad. I think right after that, I think we fall in that place. I know we graduated 3 Division I defensemen. We graduated 2 of the best offensive players in the county.
Mike Biankowski?
Mike Biankowski, well, ironically played half a season with a hernia, because everyone thought it was a groin.
Won a state championship.
Won a state championship.
Was your leader with a hernia.
He was.
That's a warrior.
Not to take anything away from Ethan Rowland and Teddy McLaughlin and those guys, but we have another defenseman in Jack Raffanino as a sophomore who'll anchor our defense with Devin DeGennaro, who's in goal. We're gonna struggle to find a face-off guy. We have a couple guys that are great, good, not great. We have one of the best two-way middies out there, in Joe Youngerkiss.
Yeah, I would say he's probably the top 2. Him and the kid from St. Anthony's.
And then we have a solid attack group. We have Chris Giuliani back, who's not going to go play college lacrosse, but could play in probably almost any school he wanted to if he decided he wanted to play lacrosse. And then we have a lot of really good role players that no one knows about that play JV. I think our JV team the last 3 or 4 years, not that it matters, it might have lost 1 game or 2 games. So these kids, this 2020 group, is finally catching up to the seniors that just graduated. So our junior class will be strong, and it'll be a tough year coaching, but it'll be fun. And it'll be worth the adjustments and making the playoffs and seeing where we end at the end of the year. Anything's possible, injuries happen, and for us or anybody else. So anything could change from now until May. And then I think Bayport's going to surprise some people this year. James Ringer's one of the top middies in the county.
Where's he going?
He's going to Rutgers.
Nice.
Tough as nails. He works harder than anybody you'll ever see. One of the guys that coached with Islip is over at Bayport now, and Jeff Aiello. He can't stop raving about James Ringer and what he's going to bring to the table for them this year.
He's a senior, James?
Yeah, Shane Santoro, face-off guy going to Towson. They got Orlando, defenseman going to Hobart.
I remember that.
So they got guys that no one knows about, that only the guys in the county know about. And they got a new coach in Doug Meehan, but Mike Luce stays on as an assistant and then brings Jeff on. So their coaching staff got a lot stronger, and I think they'll motivate them to step up and play hard this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they upset anybody. And then as far as the D's go, it's Mattatuck and nobody else. I mean, poor Jeff.
Babylon can't do it?
Babylon's got a great goalie, and I think that's the only guy they got. So he'll average 19 saves a game.
But he'll lose 12-4.
But he'll lose 12-4.
Will Singleton, Babylon.
Oh, yeah?
Watch out for him.
I agree.
He's a good defenseman.
Okay.
He's going to have to cover a lot of people up.
I think he can cover almost anyone.
I agree. I think he's a great cover.
6 guys.
But he can't cover 6 guys.
He'll play his
He
own.
can cover like 4.
He'll play his own. Maybe he'll be in the backer portion of it. But
he is good.
They graduated the face-off kid.
Both face-off guys.
They're going to struggle.
Yeah.
But John Green's a good coach, and
he's a good dude.
And being in the D's, you always have an opportunity. Poor Jeff has got 11 kids on the roster.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they really.
Is Aiden
struggle.
still there?
Aiden's still there. He'll face
He's a
off.
player.
He is. It's hard. A kid's going on vacation and you have 10 kids. It's like What are you going to do during
And they
break?
go on
A lot of
vacation.
fast break drills.
Yeah. So that really wraps up Suffolk County in that sense. I think, the coaches did a really good job, I think, with their rankings this year. And I think those guys are going to battle it out, and we're looking forward to the season. So
Cool. Well, I think your insight was so in depth for both you guys that you covered not just every team. I think you covered a lot of top players, which we wanted to cover tonight. And as you've obviously seen, we could probably talk all night about this stuff, which is great. And I think we'll definitely get you guys back on here talking Long Island lacrosse, especially as we approach the playoffs. We just want to talk about a couple things that are up next in the future that are pretty exciting. To start, the USA U19 team for the boys is going to be the summer of 2020, right?
Yep.
That's when it's going to kick off. So
Tryouts will be this summer.
yeah, tryouts will be this summer. So hopefully a lot of
August.
yeah.
Oh, is that when they're doing
I
it?
believe so, yeah.
This August, yeah. So I'm sure a lot of the top 2020s on Long Island
And
And
19s.
the young
and
19s.
and young 19s will be out trying out for that, which would be a pretty cool opportunity. So, I think
I think something you guys should
yeah.
do is you guys should explore or investigate what 19s are going to be age eligible
I'm gonna
around here.
do that.
Because when you guys come back on, you want to talk about the top U19, 20s,
I
and
think it's a
19s.
great idea.
It's going to give you a real good
We
idea.
can do it through social media. He's saying wrap it up.
Let's do it tonight. Let's talk about every single kid.
Make sure I was trained to midnight mass.
I used to love midnight mass, and I'm Jewish.
Speaking of being Jewish, Christmas Day, we're going to be releasing the top 15 teams in each county, Nassau, Suffolk, boys and girls. Follow us on Instagram at FLGLax. And Coach Zumo, Coach Dunn, thanks for being on tonight.
Thanks for
Thanks
having
for
us.
having
us.
us.
Again.
You guys are the
Much
best.
appreciated.
You guys are awesome.
You guys are the best.
Thanks, man. Dunn.
Core.
Guys, happy holidays. We love you.
Snagging the handshake in there.
Hey, got to get away.
Have a good night.